Sorry, I'm
Content warning. The following show contains smoking, some potty mouth language, descriptions of fictitious violence, and a few things that might make people feel singled out or attacked. But I promise, you're not being attacked. Sometimes you're just being seen. Other times, we're just stating what's on our mind. Either way, viewer discretion is advised. Man, you and these what do you call them? You mean disclaimer forms? Yeah, I used to not do them, and then the content warnings were like important, so I just figured, why am I justifying myself to you, man? Just start the damn music. All right, fine, I'll start the music. I don't hear no music. Better? Hey everybody, what is going on today? I am Silver Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And yeah, y'all can laugh all you want because I dance like a Muppet. There is a reason that you don't see me at the club doing the club. I'm sitting up at the club. But,
I was just going to ask, are we going to Burning Man? Is that what this dancing means?
Oh, we will get there today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a guest star. I actually have a couple of co-hosts today, but welcome to the dark side of the room. This is the show where we talk about games and hobbies and crafting and life. Don't you know anything about life, Lisa? You are tearing me apart with your dated memes. And just stuff about getting through the day. I mean, seriously, man, we're all about escapism and all that stuff. Although sometimes we get into like little things like life coaching and stuff like that. So stick around. A lot of people are like, I thought we were going to be talking about this. Why are you telling me like how to behave when I'm at a gaming table and all that stuff? Babe, I get it. But yeah, just stick around and all that stuff. And I want to introduce one of my illustrious co-hosts, the dude I've been trying to get on this channel forever on a regular basis, but unfortunately, life happens and he gets whisked away all the way across the country. And I will tell you, it hurts, man. It hurts. And I'm also going to introduce my other co-host. You guys know him. You guys love him from, of course, the Chat Attack and a few other places out there on the internet. I want to introduce the, not a, Ruthless Wonder and the Ganja Guru. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, yes, we're here. We are here and all of that jazz. And today is a pretty big show. We'll probably be going over our time limit of an hour because I got some other announcements to make because I'm having to do a little bit of a restructuring over here. So with that, though, I am going to say if y'all got any questions or comments, or y'all want to be like, I don't like what you said because you made me feel like man, you're wrong. You're wrong. Well, all you got to do if you want to say stuff like that is either talk to me right here in the chat. Good, nobody hates me yet. Or pull up your email and type in backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me over on Twitter. I refuse to call it what I call former girlfriends, along with Instagram, TikTok, Instagram, you can also find me there at BACKINTHEDECK. And on TikTok, you can find and subscribe under BidPy. That is at BIDPY. I know some of you guys are like, well, that's BidPie. I wasn't going to put BIDPEE. All right? I don't want people making wagers on whether or not I have an unviolated and undesecrated set of bodily fluids. And if you're still part of that wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Facebook, because like me, you're over 40, then join the group Deckers on the Book and show us what you're making, what you're putting out there, what games you're playing, what minis you're painting, how can I put this kindly? What other game mechanics or homebrews you're working on. I want to know. I want to help you guys find your homebrews. And of course, I might want to steal some of your homebrews for my home games. Why? Because we're a community. But in order to be a community, we have to commune. And not just say, I go to this website, therefore I'm part of this community. Do I sound salty? Yes, because for somebody that's supposed to be in the middle of a hurricane, it's 81 degrees again, so I'm a little salty. Anyway, now that we've gotten through all of that jazz, let us get to our show. And with all that, I gotta say thank you guys for showing up today. And also letting everybody know that we are expanding our horizons. And if you missed this show live, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You don't gotta subscribe on the YouTube channel or anything. And if you're like, man, I want to hang out, I want to hear what y'all got to say and all that stuff, that's fine. All you got to do is look us up on Spotify and SoundCloud and all those other places that you get what? All the rest of your podcasts. What is that? It's almost like even when I'm sick, I'm still working. So, with all that being said, thank you guys showing up. What is going on, guys? How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm not over here getting hammered by a hurricane like you are right now.
Hammered by a hurricane? You know, I could show you what it looks like outside of the studio right now, and you'd be like, yep, y'all flooded. Oh, poor guys. Louisiana ain't got nothing on y'all.
Look, we'll send the helicopter soon, all right? Y'all just don't start killing each other. Don't start eating each other. We know what happens when y'all get locked up together. I've seen Escape from LA.
What you trying to say about Los Angeles?
I've seen from Escape from LA.
You know what? I'm just going to say this. At the Staples Center, you can see America, where they're tired poor defending, avenging disgrace. Anyway. How you doing, Ruthless? Oh, my God. Is that a plug for a certain book?
Hope so.
I think you went mute, bruh.
He was so hyped on the hook that he just went
Of course,
muted.
but you got to greet me differently.
I'm
not in my usual form. I am, of course, the spirit delinquent, a.k.a. Father Knight. May the night embrace you as it does me. I greet you in the name of the Star Mother Celestia.
Do I greet you with the Trinity?
No. So on Saturdays, the other D&D game that I'm in, not the one with Solar in it, of course, I play a cleric named Father Knight. And so because they're all VTubers, they gave me a VTube to use. So I figured, hey, why not come back and visit with my VTuber persona, the Spirit Delinquent.
Nice. You know, I'm probably going to do a little VTube myself if I can find one for less than the mortgage payment of my house.
I have seen that some of them are crazy expensive. Mine was not. And apparently there are ones that are cost effective for you to make on your own. So if you wanted it to look more like you like, as opposed to what a particular designer might want to create for you.
See, that's the part that gets on my nerves about doing anything online at this point. I'm a 46-year-old man, okay? I am tired of having to learn yet another skill set in order to do my job.
Look, that is our reality until we die, bro.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that, man. I'm trying to be lazy.
You can't be lazy. Lazy doesn't work.
I don't got the phenotype for it. Fuck.
No, so here's the thing, bro. You can be lazy. It's called being too lazy to fail. All right. And what that is figuring out what it takes to do it properly. Do it properly the first time so that you don't have to go in and fix any mistakes. That's the
just
lazy that we're
described
allowed.
all my jobs.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah, it's like, man,
but
I'm
yeah,
so lazy, I don't want to do algebra. Then you better pass, or you're gonna be doing it again next year.
yeah, that's the truth. But yeah, I figured, why not have a little fun, show up in one of my alternative forms. A man has many names and forms.
So you have a better excuse than I do. I accidentally rolled over my USB cord a couple weeks ago, and so my webcam has been fucked since then.
Bro,
So get a new cord.
It's one of, I gotta get a whole new camera. I have the Lawtech one where you can't replace the wiring.
Ah, okay. Then I've got a
Yeah,
suggestion for you. I will send it to you. It's I am loving the Logitech Brio. It's a Logitech Brio 4K. It's about $100, and it is good, and it uses a USB-C connector
okay.
that
I should.
that disconnects. See, you can disconnect it, and
I'll have
it's
to
only
look.
about that big. I mean, seriously, I'm talking. Yeah, like you can see this online. Yeah, no, it's only about like 5 inches wide by an inch tall by an inch deep. So
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, it's about the size of a good lighter. Like it's about this size,
I'm used to working with those type of numbers. Don't
So
ask further.
so let's get back to the earlier question. So does the dance mean we're going to Burning Man?
Burning Man, no, I'm still taking the year off. Okay, I'm taking another year off. I've been gone for about 10 years, But if I go back, it'll be like my 14th or 15th. And I'm like, I need some time away from people that I consider rich that consider themselves poor. Okay? That's the whole thing.
Fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, because they're like, oh man, what? I only spent $3,000 to get here for the week, but whenever I go to Burning Man, I normally spend like 5 to 9, and then getting that time off of work, I'm like, shut up, just
Look, I don't like
shut
you.
up.
Right, right.
I'm like,
So-
wow, $5,000. What does that look like? Like physically, I haven't seen that much money.
It looks like prosperity.
I'll be honest, I have seen $5,000 before. That was actually to be given to me. It has been quite a while.
Did it feel like prosperity?
It's a weird moment. Just trust me on that one.
See, my big thing on that is like I've seen $5,000 and it was given to me, but it really wasn't mine. It belonged,
Oh, it was mine.
Well, no, let me
It was
let me
mine, but it
let me
was-
finish. It like I said, it wasn't mine. It belonged to my mortgage payment, my landscaper, the electricity company, the water bill, the car bill. Yeah, it wasn't my $5,000.
You were the intermediary for the $5,000.
Exactly.
Fucking middleman for his own money.
Right, right. Oh, man.
Exactly. They said it was mine, but my dad looked at me and said, "What was that?" "Oh, I'm
sure about
sorry,
that?"
girl. No, I'm gonna need that right now." And then you gonna have to go back out there and stand up straight next time, because them driving by, they need to see you. All right, you get out there, girl. You get out there.
Keep your head up. Put a
I do
smile on
think
your face.
your chat has a good suggestion though. A sock puppet VTuber solar would be very cool.
So
Muppet?
funny thing about that, there is Lil Saul. If you
Yeah.
check out the TikTok, go all the way back to the first video, and you'll see Lil Saul. He's had writer's block, and he hasn't been doing good content. And I reached out to a friend of mine, and eventually Lil Saul and Corybot are probably going to have lunch. And if our really fat friends with their skinny ties and fat briefcases can come to some sort of agreement, then I might be able to ask for Corybot and Lil Saul to do something on camera together that's PG. Problem is that Corybot can't be PG,
I understand the
So
struggle.
the PG is the problem there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah. But thank you guys for showing up. We got a pretty big show today. All right.
Yes.
A big show because I'm officially making the announcement. Over here at Dark Side of the Room, we're going to be scaling back just a little bit. I have to cut 2 of my broadcast days out because one, it's funny. A funny thing, like having a show is like having kids, where you have to write content, it's just like feeding your kids. Did you know you got to do that every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did actually.
Like, seriously, I do these shows 5 days a week, and that means I have to write 5 60 to 90-minute dissertations a week. And unfortunately, we haven't been gaining enough followers for me to do this full time. So now I got to go looking for a Starbucks gig or something in order to keep doing the show and let my house not be in foreclosure.
Yeah, that's important. Very important.
Yeah.
Housing is a big issue.
Yeah. I mean, as long as we live under this capitalistic patriarchy that makes survival something that's sorry. That was for our meeting last night down by the docks. And by the way, thanks for showing up, Ganja. That you had some good stuff to put in there.
No problem. Look. I'm sorry. Look, I couldn't be there late. These anarchists, they're keeping me up. Like, we're arguing bath times, right? I will get them to wash their ass, Solar. I will. God damn it. If I don't get the revolution, I will get soap on their ass.
Wrong kind of revolution. And that was the other meeting down by the dock. By the way, a couple of pills and that'll clear right up. I promise. It's kind of thing.
Sometimes you got to bed yourself with the culture a little too deep, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. So, but today's subject, okay, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, is finding the gaming system for the game that you actually want to play. You might be looking at me going, What do you mean, Solar? I play the game that I want to play. This is your cue to ask me that question.
So, are we playing the game we really want to play? Because I feel like a lot of us aren't.
Yeah. Matter of fact, a lot of us are not playing the game that we want to play, and this is what I mean. I have been running games for. See, I've been playing for about 32, 33 years, and I've been running them for about 27 of that time. And a lot of the times I'll be like, hey, I'm running D&D, and my players want to turn Dungeons and Dragons, and at the time, 3rd edition, into, say, Cyberpunk or Ocean's 11. A lot of people want to play 5th edition, and they love 5th edition D&D, but they don't want to get in any fights, and they want to play a lot of diplomatic things. There was a long time when I was running, say, Mage the Ascension, and people wanted to get out there and be murder hobos like they would in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? I'm sure this is happening to you guys because I know you both run games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Look,
It's absolutely happened to me.
I love my Cyberpunk players. They don't believe in railroads. They naturally jump the shark. It's amazing.
Wait, you say jump the shark or play in the sandbox? Those two are completely different things.
Look, they will find a way.
Well, with all that, I have to, as the old GM with a bad back and the blurry eyes, and my back is hunched and knees are bad and hair is gone all blue. A lot of people ask, like, how do you get the blue so vibrant in your hair? I'm like, I'm very old. You know, your blue-haired grandma? This is what happens after. And it ain't the age, it's the mileage, all right? I'm tired. I'm just tired of everything. So, one of the things I have to put out there is I'm like, okay, what game do you actually want to play and that you're trying to shoehorn the system that you're playing into being? But in order to do that, you have to understand how each game that you are playing was designed, and with that design, what does it cater to more? Okay? For example, if you're playing Vampire the Masquerade, chances are a Dungeons and Dragons type adventure will not work for you. Not because modern fantasy doesn't exist, but modern dark fantasy, when it comes to politics, primogens, and the way that the experience rewards go in the White Wolf or the World of Darkness system, because they don't own it anymore. But yeah, in the World of Darkness system goes is completely different from what it is in Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. So
Certainly.
So one of the things I noticed long ago was first and second edition D&D gave you experience points for things that later editions don't. Like, did you know, and this is just a bit of role-playing history, did you know that in first and second edition Dungeons and Dragons, the amount of gold you plundered had a direct correlative experience level with your character at the end of the game?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically like the gold was essentially your physical stand-in for the XP you were gaining in theory as a player. So your character got gold the way you, the player, got XP.
Exactly. So what that meant was the more gold you went plundering and jacking people for, the more experience you got. It's like, dude, I'm a second level fighter, but I need to be up to fifth level fighter in order to survive the next boss fight. Hey, what you got on my 40, homie?
Basically.
You know.
It was kind of beautiful in its ridiculousness, to be honest. It's like you're power leveling by just basically robbing the populace. Like it's kind of like that's essentially what you do in every video game. So I understood where it came from, but it's just like that is so absolutely ridiculous.
My favorite joke about that is in like a Fallout meme page where it's like, "Hey, I've come here to save your village. Continue to just rob your house while I'm mid dialogue."
That's exactly it, right? But in later editions of Dungeons and Dragons, you ended up getting more experience for killing stuff than you did for getting money. So it turned the game from robbing and stealing to straight up homicide. All right? You know, but how much experience do you get for talking your way out of a fight or for negotiating a trade deal with a different village? Not nearly as much as you get for stabbing something in the eye, I'll tell you what.
And thus began my favorite thing, the rise of milestone leveling.
That has actually been a really, really good improvement into Dungeons and Dragons, because a lot of new editions take a lot of popular house rules and say, well, guess this is what we're doing now, you know, which is not a bad thing, because, you know, you got to make that money in order to publish more books in order to keep the game alive. Keep that game alive, yeah, keep that game alive. However, there are as many different games and systems as there are properties that people are interested in, and this is what I wanted to get back to today.
Yes,
you know,
I'm up for it. It sounds great. I love this topic.
Yeah, I figured you would. When you reached out today, I'm like, oh, he'll be great on this one. Can I juggle two co-hosts? I think I can, because I have a mute button.
Well, now that you have two professionals here, we just didn't come here just to yell and rant. I'll do that later.
Yeah, not just two professionals, but two professionals that are professional in this field as well. So I'm like, yeah. Besides, this is a show with company that I have wanted for a while now. I would love to do a weekly show with y'all if y'all had that kind of time, but you don't. I get you, counselor, and I get you, comrade.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. We just have to figure out timing. Again, with me, everything is timing.
I totally get that. But before we go on to this topic, I want to say what's up to my people in the chat, specifically my ride or dies like Vision Vendor, Xanathates, Neon or Lakino, and thank you, Neon, for popping up that invitation to the Discord. You know, that is really awesome. So it's a sad thing when there's a higher standard of decorum in gaming chats than in political commentary. We ain't going there, Neon. Not say that you're wrong. Okay, you are absolutely correct in the fact that it is a sad state of affairs, that is the state of affairs, but If I'm going political on this channel, oh, I'm gathering up Lil Bill and FD Signifier and all these people that don't know who I am, and we gonna go all the way there. But those people don't know who I am because I only have like 26 followers on YouTube. So hit that like and subscribe. But
It would be interesting, me in the same chat as FD Signifier. I have a feeling there would be all kinds of needs for your personal controls. But that's a different discussion.
Oh no, that would be an After Dark Patreon exclusive thing because I'm like, don't show your kids. I'd be like, no, really, show your kids. Like, people need to know.
I'd just be there chilling, just eating, just like, man, this is gonna be great.
Are you kidding? A freaking lawyer versus a sociologist? I'd just be sitting back going, wait, popcorn needs more MSG.
Man,
The two of us in particular, like, yeah.
So yeah,
not that I hate him or anything, because I don't hate him. We disagree fundamentally on some issues.
I gathered that. I definitely gathered that. So when it comes to picking out a gaming system, I'm not gonna lie, it's gotten mainstream. Everybody's gonna start with D&D. That's just what it is now. Okay, the way of the world, because of the pandemic and Critical Role and Vox Machina and Dimension 20, everybody's gonna start with Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, and I want to put this out there right now. Nothing that we're saying is meant to say that we hate what is popular. When I hate a system, I will tell you flat out, I hate that system. -15 out of 100 would not recommend. Yes, I'm talking about Super Fight again. However, I do not.
I mean, that wasn't what the talk. We had a conversation because I'm, go to what the topic of the show is. Where there's some levels of us wanting to create our own games, and you went on a whole rant about this one system that I didn't even think it was a real problem like that.
No, really, Super Fight, don't waste your money. All right, if you want to keep your friends, don't buy Super Fight. And if you want to be around me and not get kicked in the mouth, don't bring Super Fight to my gaming table. Now, however, since we are in the time that I'm waiting for my antibiotics prescription, okay? Since we are in the time that we're in, everybody is starting out with 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons or 2nd edition Pathfinder at their gaming table. That is just what it is right now. Because of Vox Machina, Critical Role, Dimension 20, it's probably going to be 5th edition D&D unless you have some graybeard gamer that hates simplicity and loves so much crunch that by the end of your 3rd gaming session, you're going to need dentures. Then you're going to be getting Pathfinder. That's just how it goes. Okay. However, those gaming systems, okay, the game engines, as it were, might not be the mechanics that you or your party really want to play. Okay, they might not be built for what you want to do and the gaming experience that you want to have with your players. Midnight, Papa Knight. Yeah, that's it. Papa
The Spirit Delinquent, Ruthless, The Ruthless Wonder, Matt Williams, since I have my book up behind me right now. All those work.
All right. And if you know him, especially Daddy.
No, never that one. Absolutely not. Not at any point ever. There are names I absolutely despise that is high on the list.
Well, whoever you are, I'm going to ask you as a GM, have you had an experience, and I'm asking you over Ganja because I know that Ganja is a newer GM. It's been like 2 years and he's just entered the realm of Forever GM. By the way, welcome to the club, and make sure your players bring coffee. But have you in your time of GMing had those experiences more than twice where the game you were running was not really the game that they wanted to play?
Absolutely. One of the big times I run into it is when somebody wants to do much more I hate to call I won't say like non-combat because I don't think that's really the right way to put it. I run into it a lot when I find people that want to be more in the investigation side of things as opposed to the general confrontation side of things. And I've had to find alternatives to things like Call of Cthulhu for that, but they'll be like, "Oh well, I was wanting to play D&D, but I was thinking of making it like a detective bard." It's like, okay, guys, like, there's a whole system that does all this very well. Please, let's go use it. Like there are tons of systems, or somebody who really wants to play like the hunter of all the bad things, but they want to be in like a mainline Vampire the Masquerade game. That's happened a few times. We've dealt with that, unfortunately.
Very much so. Very much so. So today we're going to go over some suggestions and why. Okay. Now, I opened up talking about the two classics, okay, Dungeons and Dragons, and of course Pathfinder, which is Dungeons and Dragons with nuts and other various legumes and a little bit of aggregate gravel in there. So crunchy. God, so crunchy. And now I want to point out the difference between those two systems is who does the work. Does the GM do the work or do the players do the work? And what do I mean with that? In 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, there are a lot of broad rules, okay? But in Pathfinder, there is a book that has a rule that will answer your question even though you're trolling, okay? So when you need to know what the agility bonus is if you are hanging upside down on an acute cliff in this realm while it's raining and there's a bugbear holding a rope. In 5th edition, the GM has to go through a whole lot of stuff to give you an answer. In Pathfinder, you'll find that on page 51 of one of the myriad books that are on your shelf. Okay? That's really the big difference between the two games. All right? Pathfinder took all of the work out of the hands of the GM and put it in the hands of the players in the very Shatner-esque way of, buy my book. Buy my book. If you know, you know. Now, at the end of the day, though, both of those standard fantasy games are games of exploration and killing a bunch of bad things and taking their stuff. That's just what it really comes down to. And why do I say that? Go ahead, ask me that question, either one of you.
I actually do wonder why you say that.
Huh?
I actually do wonder why you say that.
Because when you look at the game mechanics, 80 to 90% of the game mechanics are all about improving your stats for combat. 90% of your spells are to protect you in battle, to make you hit harder in battle, to protect someone else in battle, and to make someone else hit harder in battle. When you take a look at both Pathfinder and D&D, I'm not saying it's impossible to make a non-combat centered character, but you look at the spells, the bonuses, the weapons, and the experience point system, and its primary thing is about killing. That's its primary thing. Yes, there are milestones, but that is, I'm not going to call it an afterthought, but I will say that that is a very new addition to the Dungeons and Dragons system. And, if we were to open up the Player's Handbook or Xanathades or any of the other 50 books from 5th edition, 90% of them are better armor, better weapons, better combat spells. You wouldn't argue against that, would you?
No, I wouldn't argue against that. I agree with you. Yeah.
So the system of the game is built primarily for fighting. However, if you want to play a game where you talk to people, you do diplomatic stuff, and you're not playing the milestone system, okay, D&D is possible, but it's not the amount of fun, especially, that new players are looking for. You get where I'm at?
Yeah, it's not what they're looking for. They haven't been exposed to tabletop in that fashion. I can understand where you're coming from.
Okay. Ganja, has this been your experience? New Forever GM, and I'm quoting M10 in the chat. One of us, one of us, one of us.
Nah, the thing I've experienced more is a lot of my players, they play a lot of fantasy role play games,
Mm-hmm.
so they're used to those types of stat mechanics, especially the special system from Fallout. So they would either try to like game their like stats to a certain way, or really focus on like upgrading that to the point of like they're not really playing the game, they're playing the stats more. Or something I also dealt with, like they try to beat the game, not realizing that this is a role play game and there's no like abject ending or goals or stuff like that to really like hammer down that you beat the game. Like this is pretty open ended. So a lot of it was just teaching them like, hey, I'm not gonna just give you an A to Z ending. You know, it's gonna be wide more imaginative than that. And sometimes I feel like they're used to the safety of a video game, just cut and dry. Jump skin completed. You beat the baddie. You're done.
Oh, we gonna touch on that later because it is very much akin to today's topic. So Ruthless brought up a great point a little earlier, where sometimes players might want to ask a lot of questions and do something that they learned from video games, which is talk to everybody, open every door, and looking everywhere they can for clues, i.e., an investigation-based game. And some players are all about the heist, and other players are about the big old robots going pew, 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 pew. I'm not going to say that games like 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons is not equipped for that. But what I will say is that there are other systems that are on the market, and a lot of them cost a lot less than Dungeons and Dragons, that are straight up designed to optimize that area of play. Okay? One of my favorite current role-playing games right now that I have not been able to get a group together to play is a game called Kids on Bikes. And why? Because I'm old. All right, I'm old. That's what I am. And this is an entire RPG about being a Generation X kid who gets into adventures in that place that a lot of youngsters don't quite understand anymore, called outside. It was inspired by things like Stranger Things, The Goonies, E.T., where you play a preteen that has a bicycle, something weird happens, and you're just a pre-teenager. You got no superpowers, no weapons, no nothing, but something weird is going on in town, and you've got to figure out what's going on in order to save some people.
Are you saying that there's something strange in the neighborhood?
I'm saying that
and you don't know who to call?
Well, I am saying that there are some things out there that are strange. Some things that are even stranger than we're used to. You know?
Oh.
So the idea of people role-playing their junior high school years appeals to some and really does not appeal to other people.
No.
You know? And on another thing, I've run D&D games where people wanted machine guns, giant robots, and space travel. And some folks would be like, all right, let's do some Spelljammer then. And it's like, Spelljammer's cool, but there's a difference between the crystal spheres and faster than light travel. So on that, I could say, you know, the setting of Vesper Genesis is one thing, but they might actually be wanting to play 5 parsecs from Mars, or 5 parsecs from home from Mongoose games. You know, so I want to go over.
Can I tell a quick story? Because I ran into something like this.
Yeah.
But entirely on me as a DM. And I think since M10's in the chat, he can back me up on this. So I was planning for it. Unfortunately, I can't do it now. I was planning to do a spooky season game with just a limited session. It was only going to take a few sessions to get the way through the entire story, and I was really looking for the right system to utilize to make what I wanted for the story to work as a game for players. And I ended up coming down to two versions of the same idea, one that worked really well with Vampire the Masquerade, and the other that I was having a lot of trouble with because while I like Call of Cthulhu as a system, it is not really conducive to what I wanted to do. And so M10 actually led me towards um, the Fear system and the Dresden Files, the Harry Dresden focused.
Ah, the Fear and Fate system.
Uh-huh. And so
we'll get to that.
Well, so I was able to find in that what I really wanted players to be able to do with one version of the idea. Like I said, the non-vampire based idea really worked really well in that system. And it didn't feel like I was trying to, force a square peg into a round hole. It worked in that. And I think as players, we oftentimes don't understand that is also something to think about. Like what you want to play is very important to the notion of what system you're going into using. And if you really do want to be that detective focused, journalist person, you don't really want to go into a D&D game because it's not really meant for that. But if you want to be, a gunslinging old west, sharpshooter with weird things happening around you, you also don't want to go into D&D or even modern D20 based games. You'd want to go into something like Deadlands. And so I just wanted to tell that quick story because I feel like as players, we might know it a little bit easier, but as DMs, we also need to think about what am I trying to tell through the interaction of me and my players, and is the system that I'm wanting to use for this really going to work for that? Just a thought.
You say it's just a thought. You just gave like the whole thesis statement of this episode. Thanks. Trying to make a 2-hour episode here, and you just like sum up everything in like 5 minutes.
We got so much
You
more.
should see what he does in television shows.
Yeah, I do ruin TV. Sorry.
Yeah, I see it. Like a high school teacher gets cancer and can't pay for his stuff, so he ends up dying after becoming a criminal guy. Done. I'm like, man.
I never ruined Breaking Bad, but I did destroy Westworld the first episode, and that's not my fault. I didn't know ahead of time. I just happened to guess.
I guess that in the fucking Game of Thrones, but I was just throwing a Hail Mary out there. I think they'd be dumb enough to lock that in.
I mean, M's in the chat. He can back up. I absolutely, between the two of us, we have destroyed Game of Thrones like seasons ahead of what they were coming up with. That's not our fault. We were just really good at it.
We read the books, okay?
I'm talking about the non-book stuff. I'm talking about stuff that we had no book references for. It was bad. See?
Yeah. That's fair.
I can see the future.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to hop into was, the skill-based percentile system of Call of Cthulhu, of course, from Chaosium Games. Now, this game is on, we're pushing the 11th edition of this game. It has been going strong, and believe it or not, it is the #1 RPG in Japan. And it's based on the writings of Howard Phillips Lovecraft and his wonderful cat. Now, real talk, I'm putting this out there. I cannot stand the dude as a person, and it is really easy to look into his works. And what was it that you said the other day, Ganja, when you start reading Lovecraft and read his descriptions?
Oh, this is great. All these creatures are just standing in for brown people. I appreciate it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love to see white fragility on books.
Yeah, and you know what? But putting that aside, okay, I am putting that part aside. The literary world that he created within that fragility is very rich and very thick. And it makes for good stories. And when I say it makes for good stories, the percentile system of Call of Cthulhu. Now, number one, Call of Cthulhu is based on the Lovecraft stuff, which is regular people get hit with extraordinary circumstances from an indifferent universe that doesn't care about you. You are not the chosen one. If you're lucky, you are not the chosen one. And if you are the chosen one, everything is gonna suck. Okay. One of the best examples of stories from this universe that you guys can find in modern media, I would say look up the movies In the Mouth of Madness, From Beyond, and most recently Underwater with Kristen Stewart. Okay. And those are all regular people that that literally get stuck in circumstances where they're looking at stuff way beyond their job description, and that stuff is ultra natural, which is like 2 steps beyond supernatural. And now, are they going crazy? Yes. Will they survive? And the percentile system on that is the perfect system for that game. It comes down to you roll a D100 and you're trying to get below your skill level on whatever skill you're trying to do. And the skills are very, very rarely extraordinary. They're things like drive, operate guns, pick locks, climbing. That's real. And that is a skill-based system. You don't have a level in Call of Cthulhu or the percentile system. You just have what you're good at. It's very skills-based. And this hits for a lot of gaming styles, specifically for investigation. And this system is really good, believe it or not, for non-supernatural things as well. Like, Ruthless, you run Call of Cthulhu. Give me a movie that isn't a horror flick that system can be applied to. I've got one off the top of my head, but yeah, just think about it.
Off the top of my head, I can easily go Naked Lunch.
Okay.
Blade Runner. Technically you could run like Chinatown.
Ooh, Chinatown's a good one.
I would be very interested in, is it Midnight Run? Is that the one where he's trying to get out of the prison overseas? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, the Midnight Run I know is a buddy comedy of a dude like running from the cops.
Not that one. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the one where the guy's like in jail and is trying to like escape from basically like a Turkish prison.
Okay.
The film Sorcerer with the freaking film with the
slow down, man. I said a movie, not like a dissertation.
I'm just saying, like there's a lot of non-linear storytelling as well as like non-conflict, not non-combat focused conflict films that I think would work really well in the system.
Yeah, and we've got one in the chat from Neon Arlecchino saying Escape from New York. And of course, someone's like Escape from New York is more actiony. And it's funny that was said because my pick was Die Hard. Quite seriously. You've got a bunch of thieves and a cop.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah, you see where that's going, where it's like, okay, so, man, I have no shoes. Crap. All right. Do I make my jumping and hanging roll? Do I make my climbing roll? All right, I'm trying to do stealth. What's my luck like in this? Because I ain't gonna lie, Bruce Willis, huge pump in his luck stat if you were going to be doing Call of Cthulhu or Die Hard as Call of Cthulhu.
I think Ocean's 11 would fit better in...
Oh, we're getting there. I know where you're going. I know exactly where you're going, and we're going to get to that. Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which is like... I have got to play a game in this system. It looks so much fun.
Go on.
We're going to get there. But yeah, so Call of Cthulhu is very much a grounded type system because of the percentile thing. Okay, the percentile thing. And it's got 2 damage tracks, and this is really, really important. Because I've seen people go from Dungeons and Dragons to Call of Cthulhu and not have a good time. Because how can I put this? We old heads, when it comes to gaming, we laugh saying, "You're concerned about dying in Call of Cthulhu. You're funny." And they're like, "Well, why? Why are you laughing at me?" "Because you're gonna go crazy way before you die." And yeah, I mean that is very much a real thing. Real talk. If Bruce Willis in Die Hard had all of his sanity points, he would have never jumped off the building with the water hose. Spoilers for a 35-year-old movie.
Hey man, I was gonna get to that.
Huh?
I was gonna get to that eventually.
What do you mean?
I mean, I was joking. I was gonna watch Die Hard, but let's be honest. If you haven't watched that in the last 30 years,
Hey, I was gonna watch that movie that 16 other movies have been based on, and none of them compare. But yeah, honestly, one of the best shows that I see that reflect a different system, but can be shoehorned into Call of Cthulhu, is Evil on Amazon. With Michael Coulter. It's a great show.
I see where you're going. I see where you're at with this. Yeah. No, I agree on that. Just like I was saying in the chat, True Detective Season 1 is a Call of Cthulhu game. Like, please go back and watch. It's amazing, one. And everything about that just screams like, hey, are they slowly going crazy during this entire situation? Yes.
Yeah. And another great example would be the Hannibal TV show. But outside
of a different one that I would say for Hannibal, but I understand why you think that way.
Yeah, I get you on that one, and it can apply to other things. But so like if you want to run a game that's a lot of investigation, a lot of weirdness that you can't punch or stab your way through, Call of Cthulhu might be the gaming system for you. Now, if you are going, dude, I want to play D&D, but we don't have fighters. Everybody wants to be a thief. And it's like, really? Go on. Well, yeah, I mean, they just want to like rob banks and try and create like a criminal empire. Like, I want to play D&D, but I just watched like the Godfather movies and Goodfellas and Casino, and I'm kind of in that vein. Well, I really need to get some sunglasses and put my coat back on. What if I told you that there was a role-playing game that's based solely on putting a team together to perform robberies and to bring down the financial status of the establishment?
Go on.
I'm looking at it. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify, like, we got our guy Ganja just having a picture, and I swear to any deity that you believe in, I just saw his eyebrows rise, his posture straighten, and him lean in.
Look, you have my attention, now you have my interest.
Please don't quote racists on my show. Unless you can do so with purple prose, which are neither pieces of lunch meat nor overwritten words.
That was way too educational for me. That went.
I was quoting Lovecraft. Anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I would say, well, that sounds like you want to play a game called Blades in the Dark.
Yeah, Blades in the Dark is fun.
I've heard about it.
I've only done a couple one-shots with it, and I definitely would love to have a longer campaign in it at some point.
Yeah, now Blades in the Dark is really good, especially if you want to do 1 to 2 campaigns and that's it. And this gaming system is based a lot on drawing cards from a deck, special card, special deck, but honestly it's a lot less expensive than stuff like Dungeons and Dragons. And it is Ocean's 11 as an RPG, including setting up flashbacks to tell the GM how this sticky situation that you're in is not unbeatable. I know I love all of the Ocean's movies, okay? The original with the Rat Pack, and of course, the movies with George Clooney and Brad Pitt, okay? And this is Blades in the Dark from Evil Hat Games. Okay, it's a fantastic system. Here we go. Sorry, I had to do all that stuff. Here we go. Yeah, it is a fantastic system. And it's only 20 to 30 bucks. 20 to 30 bucks. And the way that the system is set up is you have the Shattered Isles and you put together your own Thieves Guild. And that is fun and awesome. And again, it's really all about the haha. Well, you only think that you caught me for this, but you see, a couple of days ago, when my friends and we went on this one particular thing, and we actually stole the thing from when it was about to be delivered to its display case, because we got word that the one that you guys were guarding was just a distraction. So we went in and we pickpocketed the guy that got the ring for that. So the one that you're holding is a fake. See, and
no, it's a lot of fun. It really is. I think those people. I think that's exactly what you want it for. You want it for the grand heist that has a billion, side quests to make it happen. I definitely agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, when you have a gaming group that's together, that's all about putting together the team and accomplishing that mission with as few bodies as possible, about, like I said, stealing stuff, bringing down the establishment and starting your own criminal empire, so that one day you can talk with a lot of pauses about how people never came to you as a friend. Then Blades in the Dark is the game that you were looking for.
Can I give a suggestion that I think would help a lot of people for doing the same kind of thing, but with a different modern film franchise and genre?
Hit me.
So, for folks that like Mad Max style, super high combat, and truly, legitimately cars involved, there is a system that even includes some miniatures, if you like the painting of miniatures kind of thing, but you don't necessarily need them, and it's called Gaslands.
Oh,
and
bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. Yeah, we talk about Gaslands a lot on this show.
Because Gaslands is a lot of fun, and if you have that itch for just that vehicle combat, even if you just want to be, the doof warrior on the top of the car with the guitar playing his soul out, you can do all of these things, and you don't have to forge it into some carriage ride, race in a D&D match. I promise you, there's better ways to do everything. And Gaslands is one of my favorites for that kind of thing. It's just silly, wild Mad Max combat, and cars.
Yeah, I mean,
I bet people that were into the new Twisted Metal show, if they discovered that this,
yes,
they would love this fucking RPG if they discovered it.
Oh, absolutely. And Blades in the Dark is less an RPG as it is a tabletop, war game. However, it is so thick in its lore that you can take its skin and put it on a different engine, just with the different teams between Earth and Mars. Okay, it is fantastic. But we'll talk about skinning on another episode. And yeah, like I said, we love. As soon as I started playing Gaslands, no horse crap, guys. I ended up getting more Hot Wheels as donations than I know what to do with. People are like, "Oh man, you into Gaslands? Well, Hot Wheels are only $1, so here's 10." I'm like, I could have used the $10.
Right?
Seriously, I'm still
Now, if only they could come up with a tabletop that uses GI Joes.
Oh, it's out there.
Oh my god.
What if I told you? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're
I
not getting
wouldn't be
into that.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. Y'all like tabletop RPGs are like the WWE of entertainment. Like y'all done everything.
Oh, my sweet summer child. I actually sent one to our boy Malum that actually uses Gunpla. So these are real things. Like, but one of the gaming systems, especially for intermediate gamers, that I recommend more than any other gaming system. For when you're looking for a gaming system that is a little that's different, okay? That is different from D20 and gives you it gives you a little more of role playing than it does combat. That one is straight out of someone, and again, full disclosure, they are not sponsoring this channel yet. um, but what I will say is, yeah, this particular gaming system, this particular thing is from Evil Hat Games called Fate, the Core System.
Yes.
All right. Now, this is a gaming system. Yes, someone did say Gunpla, Sofa King, and you really are super. You are still the king of living room furniture. Okay, and this particular game, okay, is much like the World of Darkness 2.0 in the sense of it sells you the engine. Okay, the core system. These are how to build a character, what your stats mean, what dice you roll, and then it encourages people to put whatever skin they want on it. Ganja hit me up last night telling me about the game that he wanted to do. And I'm like, you might want to take a look at the Fate system because of the way that they use aspects. And he's like, I don't know what's up. So I found a free copy online because you can download this, I believe. The core system here, not the creation worksheet. But yeah, but there are places that you can download the core system. You can download it from the Fate site for $25, and it's $25 well spent. But if you just want the PDF, I'm sure there are some places that you can find it. And because I'm not saying ER matey yo ho ho and a bottle of rum on Roblox. What I am saying is that it's out there. Matter of fact, if you know an old graybeard gamer, they actually might have a copy they can give to you because it's not a very difficult system to learn. However, it is all about the role play. Okay, the system itself is not really that combat oriented, but it is about minding your surroundings, and it has benefits to really playing your character deep. Okay, you brought this up a little earlier, Ruthless. Have you had a chance to play in the Fate system?
So I have now at this point played in the system. It was part of my research to, like I said, develop this game I was putting together. I got deeper onto the fear side of things and obviously into the Harry Dresden side of things because I was trying to run that. And I love how conflict is still at the forefront of everything, but it's not combat. And I think that is the thing that makes me enjoy it most. Um, we're on a break right now from our Ariad campaign on Thursdays, and if there's any way we can end up getting, a game going in in the Fate side of systems, I think I'd be really down for that because it's a lot of fun to still have the conflict, still have the the skill checking, the puzzles, the interaction with characters, and wondering if you're going to get things done right, and watching the world evolve based on it, but not necessarily needing to go, okay, now everybody roll for initiative.
Right.
I want to do this fight. Can we get out of this fight somehow? Georgie, flash your abs.
Damn, does
Always
everyone got
bringing
that
that
one
up.
player that flashes to get out of trouble?
God, you don't understand. Our Thursday nights, we have a bard named Georgie, and it's like he natural 20s every time there's any kind of persuasion to convince somebody to stop fighting us and join us instead.
Yeah, I had that recently
Like,
happen. One of my big bads, they fucking rolled perfect rolls and made them fall in love with them. I don't know how the fuck they did that.
Solar will tell you, we have a small paramilitary organization with 25 recruits at this point. We have 5 different squads of
That
5.
get no experience because Georgia is like, I have greased abs. Now watch me play the
they get experience
saxophone.
now.
Yeah.
We're sending them on jobs now. But yeah, we got them all because we should have fought them, but we didn't fight them. George
I'm
was
just
like, look at
picturing
my
like
abs.
a very sexy version of saxophone guy.
Yes. He even plays saxophone.
Every
Yes.
like when the game started, every time he said anything, I would put up the gif of the dude from the Lost Boys. If you know, you know.
And it fit every time. Oh my goodness. I'm sure M2 is going to complain in the chat here at some point about Georgie and his magnificentness. Because I swear, it's like every time we get into a situation like, well, we could fight these people. But Georgie,
That name Georgie, did they come up with it or is that their like government?
he has like a full name, but he always introduces himself as Georgie. So
You sounds like you got like a New Jersey frat boy dude that plays the sax on your team.
oh no, it's like if Fabio played the saxophone. Like he's fully abbed up. He's got the long flowing blonde locks. Like I love Georgie.
Nobody
I absolutely
talks,
love Georgie. Like
nobody
straight up.
talks poorly of Tom Capello in my presence. Okay, no one.
I will honestly say, in character as Deacon Jones and out of character as the Ruthless Wonder, I unabashedly love the player who is playing Georgie and the way he plays Gorgeous Georges. Like it's everything I love about those kind of characters. It really is.
I mean, seriously, guys. I mean, it really is just one of those things that's, yeah. Every time Georgie does anything, I'm like, yep, we're about to get more. Or we're just about to get more. That's just the whole thing. You know, that's all. Just long hair, oil, and, long hair, oil, you know.
And the one time he didn't do the persuasion to recruit people, it was Deacon doing the recruiting, and I nat 20. Like, it's like he's making me do it. I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
So I have my character make him a guitar sword as a gift.
Yeah, just so he would stop gyrating his hips and showing his abs when he played the saxophone. And our luck went downhill at that moment. Every time I was controlling rolls, I'm like, oh, I made you roll worse. Never mind, that wasn't me. But instead of going, my character one time did this thing. Let's get back on topic. So yeah. Again, the fate system in and of itself, I fell in love with this system when I first started playing the Dresden Files, because anybody who knows me outside of here knows that I'm such a fanboy that I have a pinnacle necklace and a skull named Bob that helps me with some of my freaking spells. So, you know, and he's really liked it since I gave him internet access and put a Ouija board on the top of the dome. But
Damn, you just hooked him up with the spooky version of Chatterbait now. A
Well,
Ouija board and internet access?
he's a knowledge spirit, you know. So instead of buying all these romance novels for him to play around in, I gave him access to certain hubs.
He's a very busy spirit, y'all.
Yeah, seriously, because Knowledge Hub is a great YouTube channel, and I think it's really fun. Now,
And if you want to see us on Nebula, sure, talk to me.
Honestly, Bob has been loving Skillshare. Like, seriously. He's just like, oh my God, I didn't know that carpentry was so easy in the 21st century. I'm like, everything is compared to when you died, dude. But either way. Nowadays, our kids don't die from the rickets as often. But
You got spoiled. That's the last thing he says before he dips.
but
One of the great things about Fate is beyond just like Dresden, which is a great system to have in there. Some of the anime series that people like are in there. I know Fate Stay Night has somebody that has done a skinning of Fate for that. There are a few that are, again, just it keeps you in conflict, which is a lot of the fun of the tabletop game genre, without necessarily having it to be combat. Because, and I know this is a hot take, I'm sure your audience is not going to be happy after I say this, but at times combat can slow down the fun of a tabletop game.
Yes.
My audience, whoever you're watching, even if you're watching this on YouTube from the future, first, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you don't like, leave a comment as to why we're wrong and how combat is really fun when you're playing, say, 5th edition D&D, and how it doesn't make a 2.5-hour game turn into a 3-weekend game.
Woo! Woo! Man, I just had a Vietnam flashback.
Oh man.
It's like, man, I just wanted to beat up this mugger, and next thing I know, 3 weeks later, he's like changing into his final form.
No. I dealt with the other because I do cyberpunk runs, so they like to pick with gangs and like multiple people and shit. So I got to do the math for like 8 other like chooms and croomers that are trying to fuck with them, and I have to do all the math, the cover, the armor, and oh no, Lord Jesus, please no, don't do it to me.
Oh my
Solar.
sweet summer child.
I have to learn bullet per hour.
You have no idea.
Oh my sweet summer child. Right? By the way,
kind of
GMs,
actually
don't
being-
tell him. All right, just don't tell him.
No,
Let him
nobody
figure it
tell
out.
him. Just I want you to understand that you are very, very happy that you are only dealing with Cyberpunk right now. Trust me.
Sorry, M. Tim is out here in the combat going, calculate
Tobacco.
Thaco, Ganja. Calculate Thaco. But seriously, now I'm not gonna lie. When I first started playing the Dresden Files and I really wrapped my head around the aspect system, I'm like, this is so awesome. I'm stealing it and using it for every game and every system that I'm going to run forever. Specifically because of the compulsion system. I love me the compulsion system, especially since I run games with a lot of my people. Y'all know what I'm talking about, just kind of thing. So when they hit me up with nope, I'm like, well, it's funny because your character likes justice, don't they? And it's actually pretty unjust for that guy over there to be doing what he's doing to that shopkeep, isn't it? Yeah. Do you have a fate point right now? Well, no. Well, you do now, but you got to go stop that fight. Man, I didn't want to get into that. That sounded like plot. Yeah, I know. You wanted to play a role of somebody that doesn't take any risks, but not with the freaking compulsion system. And I love it. I love it so hard. A lot of my players are like, yep, he's probably going to do this. And I'm like, yep, I probably am. You're the one that wrote your background. What were your thoughts on that particular part of the system? Ruthless, talk to me.
It does fight I think the player's natural compulsion to dodge the main plot. And I will admit that I'm like this too at times. I was looking at the situation and like, okay, well, my character definitely would not want to get involved in this because of something in backstory that I'm not telling the rest of the party about. This has nothing to do with the games I'm currently in, I swear.
Something trauma, something.
It's never trauma. I try not to make trauma characters. I don't like being edgy for no reason. But yeah, and so I find that it really helps still keep things going. Again, it's that conflict versus combat thing of get involved in things without feeling like they are forced to fight everything. And I know that there is especially because I think a lot of D&D for a long time was very much couched to players as it is you versus the DM, that the culture of D&D was the DM is trying to kill you, you must beat them. Because a lot of times that's of course the video game mentality of the game is trying to kill you. And so they really wanted to, I feel like they wanted to keep you involved in doing things and having things that move things forward without being forced to say, and now the monsters attack. I like that. I like the idea of like, hey, here's something that's happening. If you don't address it, it's going to cause you more conflict later. You can address it now. It's going to be conflict now versus worse conflict later. What would you like to do? And then if they still say no, it's like, all right, this is now such a big deal, you can't avoid it. I love it. It's beautiful. It's simple and just profound.
Now, Ganja, I turned you on to this yesterday, and
Yes,
I
you did.
know you well enough to know that as soon as you opened up that PDF, you were like, okay, all right, cool. Before I ask whether or not you slept, I am gonna ask.
How'd you know I was up to 1 o'clock in the morning? How? Is your skeleton snitching on me?
Magic.
Probably.
I literally just talked about the knowledge spirit that lives in a skull that I have in my house.
You said knowledge spirit, not snitch spirit, all right? Those are two different things.
Yeah, you're right. Snitching is the act of acquiring knowledge.
Look, I like to consult my lawyer after the podcast whether I made a terrible choice.
Wait, isn't your lawyer like right next to you in the chat right now? Like,
And that's why he ain't defending right now, because I'm not practicing the rule we practice. I'm not shutting the fuck up.
anyway, so since I know you as well as I do because of magic, what were some of the things as a new forever GM and brand new to the Fate system that you took away, or not took away, but really stood out in your head that made you want to keep turning the page?
I like the accessibility of it. So as someone that's not really heavy into like a lot of the math, the armor, and the guns, and just it's overwhelming for me as a DM, and I've gotten lucky, and a lot of my players have been kind of surface players, so they never really dug deep into a lot of the core mechanics of the book. They just like ask me for help, or they'll ask me to point them in a direction of how they want to build their character a certain way, and I never really had to deal with like complete chaos in terms of like just a player trying to crunch me with numbers and stats and just armor and just overwhelm me essentially with just their one character aspect that I gotta try to figure out how to maneuver it all. And one of the things that I do like about this system is, one, is very roleplay focused, and it rewards roleplay a lot, as well as you can have combat in it. And I'm noticing that the system leaves itself open to if you want to introduce a combat system that you're familiar with, but it's more supplementary towards the roleplay part. Now it has its own kind of combat system as well that they simplified for their system, but it's very open ended, like all the other stuff that you can easily interject your own combat system if you wanted to it. And I'm having a fun time just designing the world itself now with this system.
Very, very neat. Now I want to put something out there for a lot of you new players that are doing the thing. I want y'all to keep doing the thing, but there are certain things that come with picking up new systems, and that is learning their lexicon. Let's set the Wayback Machine to 1994. I pick up Mage the Ascension the first time, and for the life of me, I'm looking for three different things. I'm looking for spells, level, and the mechanics on how to use it. Okay.
And
It
you will
took
have
me-
none of those things.
Huh?
Said, and you will have none of those things.
Oh no, you
whatsoever.
do. You absolutely do have those things in Mage the Ascension and Mage the Awakening. It took me a while to figure out that the Arete or Arete, I don't care where you're from, those are the two ways to pronounce Arete system. It took me a while to figure out that that was my wizard level. That was my grade level And the spheres were the different departments of magic, or the different classes, the different subjects that I majored in. And that there were spells that the book called rotes, but the game system itself was built around what I want to do with magic versus what spells I knew. And once I was able to wrap my head around that, it became my second favorite role-playing game of all time. Specifically because it's my second favorite magic system of all time. My favorite magic system, as I've said on the show at least a year and a half ago, is from a game called Ars Magica from Atlas Games.
Yes.
Which is where the Mage Ascension, the Ascension and Mage the Awakening system were based on. But it's a little more granular with a magic system, meaning you don't become. Yeah, that's right. Oh wow, thank you, M10. He's got Ars Magica. Primarily because your character doesn't become godlike by fourth session. I always liked that idea. And, that's yet another magic system that's out there, or another gaming system that might give you what you want. Not gonna lie. In the show that we're gonna talk about with scanning, Ars Magica is the game that you want to play if you want to run Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay. I got you. You know, specifically because of its create, command, and destroy aspects of magic. So yay, I'm a waterbender. You can't create water. Good point. But I can control water. And the final system that we're going to get into, because we can geek out about Fate all day, but I would rather do entire shows to some of these systems. Sorry, not the final, but the final two. Okay. One, I want to talk about 7th Sea / Exalted. Because if you have players that just want to wow out, all right, the 7th Sea system from AEG might be what they're looking for. This is a gaming system where you get a lot of dice to roll, and if you're familiar with things like Warhammer 40K and things like that, the more dice you get to roll on a singular roll, the better. And with this system, it's like, okay, I want to stab that guy because I'm a musketeer. All right, roll 3 dice. And then the other guy is like, well, the first thing I want to do is cut the rope to the chandelier, ride the chandelier up, and then get on one of the decorative shields that one of the stupid guards is holding. After I kick him in the mouth, take that shield, surf the shield down the banister, do a front flip that ends with me stabbing that guy in the top of the head, and then doing a backflip as I land in order to kiss the daughter of the guard over there and then run out the room while saying something fun. Roll 16 dice. It really is like, how outlandish, over the top, Errol Flynn, Princess Bride level wackiness do you want to do? How much swashbuckling do you want to do as a pirate? And
it's perfect to run Indiana Jones.
Bruh.
Like an Indiana Jones universe adventure with that system, it's perfect. Because Indiana Jones was built on the Errol Flynn, sword and sandal, like classic, film reel aesthetic. And it's perfect. It's perfect for it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my God, you were so right. Now, major props to, I believe it's the Warlord system. That gives you Mutants of Mastermind, Warlord, but I'm not as familiar with that as I'd like to be in order to give it the amount of flowers that it deserves. So I'm just mentioning that out there because one of our main deckers just swears by it, and if they were here, they would probably be lighting up the chat with just that system. But the
I'm willing to check it out. I'm always down to check out new systems.
But yeah, so yeah, the upside to the 7th Sea system and the Exalted system They're really, really built for how wacky do you want to go with what you're doing. Are we playing a grounded game, or are we playing an awesome game? You know, are we playing essentially? Are we going to play Wyatt Earp starring Kevin Costner, or are we going to play Tombstone? Which one are we looking for? You know.
Yes. Sorry, you just got me excited for ideas. Also, either one of those is fine in that system, but it's better in Deadlands. Just for the record.
I'm just giving an example, okay? Because I don't know any grounded pirate movie. Okay, are we playing Master and Commander, or are we playing Pirates of the Caribbean? You know.
That's a good cross section. I like that. That works.
But yeah, so and again, if you want to run away from the natives and have a fight on top of a freaking mill wheel that's rolling through the forest, real talk, 7C and Burning Sands and all that stuff, that might be what you're looking for. Because that kind of thing happening in, say, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, really, really hard to put out because of the amount of rolls that you have to do, and doing that stuff in, say, Call of Cthulhu. No, you're just dead. You're dead or insane. Okay, you're not gonna make the roll, and you're gonna get crushed by the rolling wheel or stabbed by the cultist. That's just what's gonna happen. But finally, and this is a really, really big one. Now, I don't know this system as well as I used to because I'm like 4 editions behind. But see, something was brought up a little earlier, and I know the modern geek, all right? I love that y'all walk through the door I spent so much time opening, all right? But I am far behind, okay? I've only seen 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes of One Piece. I did not watch Naruto. Pokemon was fun to watch, and it was, you know, a really cool game to play on my Game Boy. However, old heads and new heads alike, and I see this a lot when it comes to a lot of the modern geeks trying to transfer over into tabletop RPGs. Okay? If you're a new geek and you have certain headbands, or you like giant robots, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons might not be for you. But I can tell you what is.
So, as somebody who's like been looking into other RPG settings, I've noticed that there's a lot of D20 homebrews of these series that are like Wikipedia pages. How much of those are just like people just trying their best, but it's not really going to capture the spirit itself?
No. The gaming system that you might be looking for, Fate really works. But we old heads know one by the name of Bessem. Good old Bessem. The most problematic title of role-playing games that are still on the market. Okay? But this gaming system was designed specifically for those of you guys that like the animes, the isekai, the Dragon Balls. For the people that want to be king of the pirates, because that guy cannot say anything without yelling. We call it Bessem, but it was
I
known
really wish you wouldn't indulge the One Piece fans
as Big Eyes, Small Mouth. This game has been out in the market for, 25 years now. And this particular game is specifically designed for people that want to RPG an anime. I don't care if it's schoolgirl, isekai, slice of life, harem, giant robot, don't care. Oh, wow. Yeah. M. Tim is like, now that is a name I haven't heard in a long time. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, we're literally talking Big Eyes, Small Mouth. You know, it has the speed line mechanics. It has the magical outfit change mechanic. It is all there. All right, have either one of you guys have any experience with Bessem?
I
I
didn't
have
even know
not
this
played it, but
existed.
I say I'm well aware of it. I just have never played it personally.
Yeah. Again, way back in the 90s when I had a good back, I wanted to play myself an anime game. Now, I was really big into things like Ninja Scroll, and there weren't that many RPGs that had good ninja stuff that was set in feudal Japan. Now there was one, and we'll close out the show on that one this today. But a friend of mine, yeah, a friend of mine, yes, a man of culture. Yeah, a friend of mine, my friend Bill. He was like my role-playing guru back in high school. He's like, we can play some Big Eyes Small Mouth. I'm like, Big Eyes Small Mouth? But what I don't understand. And he pulled out the book, and I'm like, shook the dial, you know, and you know, and sure enough, the system was much like my hair, tight. Okay, it was such a tight system, and it gave the feel of all those things that I loved in anime, including the guy saying, "Don't I look cute?" And then you going, "Nah, dude, stop that." And he's like, "Fine, I can go to where I used to be, back before World War II when I was colonizing everywhere else in Asia, where I teamed up with the worst villains in all of history to put my supremacy over everything else. Or you can say I'm cute, you know." And
That was a deep cut, but I respect you for
Oh,
it.
I'll say the people in that know exactly what TikTok we're talking about.
yeah. But yeah, so seriously, Bessem is a great game. Great game if you want to do the anime. And why am I putting that out there? Because this is the genre that I see the most being trying to be adapted to the D20 system. And I promise you, yes, you can have a party that's all monks, okay? But the moment you pull anything out of the monster manual that's a CR3 or above, you're gonna look at a total party kill and a whole bunch of feel bad moments. Okay, a whole bunch. I've done the research. Believe me, I've done the research. You've got to say Bessem. All right, say Bessem. Get on the table. Go ahead, say the words.
Right now, that's up. Get on the table.
Now you got to put a little more bass in your voice. Got to say
That's
this
up. Get on the
ain't.
table.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. I
There
have
you
done
go,
the
boy.
research. Okay, get on the table, and then they'll be like, "Oh my god," because again, the gaming system itself was designed to pump up the anime tropes, the anime powers, and the anime worlds. Okay, and of course, the final game. The final gaming system. Okay, now there are a couple of systems that were created to be sort of catch-all systems in RPGs. All right, there is the one that only people in the UK play. That people will be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna say this one," and I will say this: only if you play Warhammer 40k do you have enough D6s to play this game, because no one else does. And that one is GURPS. From Steve Jackson.
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I knew.
Isn't that the one that sued Fallout?
Where's he gonna say GURPS? Because GURPS is gonna pop up at some point here.
Of course, GURPS is going to pop up because GURPS by Steve Jackson Games, not my favorite Steve Jackson game, that's a nominee, stands for General Use Role-Playing System. Okay? And it's so crunchy. It is just so crunchy. All right? It was created to try and encompass every other role-playing game and every property that's out there. And for some, it did a great job, but for most, it did not. Okay? But you know what role-playing system did?
What system did? What system did?
Well, give a guess. And I want you guys in the chat to give a guess as well. Okay? Now, I want to know, Ganja, Is your mind blown from all of this stuff?
Well, the one thing that I didn't know about is what how do you pronounce it again? The G1?
GURPS.
Burps.
GURPS. I only know about them like 'cause, like what I said earlier. I know that they sued Fallout originally because they didn't get the license to do it when they were about to release the first game, so they had to create their own special system because of that. So that's my only interaction with the GURPS system is through that fun fact of game knowledge.
Well, you know, Steve Jackson or Steve Jackson Games are low key, even more copyright paranoid than Games Workshop.
Damn.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they had a game out there called Car Wars, and they tried to sue Osprey for Gaslands. It didn't quite work, but it's, hey, we're the ones that wrote the game about a post-apocalyptic drag race with freaking cars. And Osprey is like, yeah, you do yours with cards, we do ours with Hot Wheels. And get out of my courtroom.
And actually, yeah, the chat's one is the one I was actually going to suggest. Savage Worlds.
Yeah. No, the all-encompassing game system that's out there, and I think only Intem is going to get this. All right. Unless there are other old heads, speak up now, because this is a deep cut, a deep cut. But sorry, Cyber Drake, you were way late. We talked about Fate and Fudge a long time ago. No, this is a deep cut, yo. And this is, if you want a universal type gaming system, that it doesn't matter how many editions of mashup you throw at it, there is a set of rule books for it, and it's based very much, God, what was this is essentially the gaming system that is so universal, so out there, and so over the top wacky.
He's got the
only
books.
place that I have seen that really lives up to what it is the anime Gurren Lagann. Okay? Do you guys remember
Okay.
Gurren Lagann?
I remember.
Of course, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Essentially, when that kid found out he could merge with everything and just started going power creep into where his little login was able to freaking take over and freaking mechanize a robot out of the freaking moon. Spoilers.
And the rest of the galaxy.
I stopped at the moon. Although I still say, don't believe in you. Believe in me, who believes in you.
Orega Kamina. I said Orega Kamina. Yes, I agree.
Hi. I wish he had made it past 3 episodes. No, my friends, I am talking about the oldie but the goodie. The one gaming system that opened up with one of the first gaming system to get the licensing rights to what has become the most famous toy franchise of the 21st century, Riffs from Palladium Games. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I told you I was doing a deep cut. All right. I first came across Riffs when I was really young, and it was the only gaming system that was out there that had rules for Macross, and it was amazing. Okay? And the idea of the multiverse is so baked into this system that you could have a Macross versus a Gundam that were being piloted by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I BS you not. All right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And everything in this game was about power creep. Okay? Way about power creep. Now, this and Call of Cthulhu, back in the days, were the two games where your character could literally be killed during character creation before the game started. It was half parody, half other stuff, you know, and like real talk, it was way out there. But if you have a GM, or if you are a GM that loves crunching numbers and rocks with the multiverse, or just has an entire group of gamers that want to play different genres, or only want to play their favorite characters from licensed properties, i.e., I want to play a Gundam. Well, I want to play Nightcrawler from the X-Men. Well, I want to play the dude from the Dungeons and Dragons movie that Chris Pine played. Well, I want to play Aragorn. Well, I want to play Gandalf. Well, I want to play Naruto. Rifts is the only game that says you got it. And it has within its game mechanics, and within the hundreds of books that it has. And when I say hundreds, I'm not exaggerating. There are 5 to 20 books for each licensed property they have. We're talking Macross, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Cyberpunk, the original Rifts setting that it had. It had Lovecraftian angles. It had sci-fi, like cyberpunk stuff. Its library is thick. Okay, so if you want Pirates of the Caribbean in space, that Gurren Lagann merges with a dying star that gives you a red cape and a planet with advanced technology, but capitalism to the point where it destroyed itself and sent your character out as a baby, you got it in Rifts. But the number one rule in Rifts that all Palladium players know is, I don't care how much how OP you create your character, there's something stronger, and I, as the GM, will throw it at you. Thoughts?
No, I love it. It's funny because, you know, and you may be getting to this point as we finish the show anyway. The reasons that we have a lot of these is because, you know, that is what sometimes players are looking for, is they want to make this awesome character and think that they can just railroad the world. And it's like, you do realize I'm the one with like the infinite amount of beings behind me, right? Like I can make more. I have something for you. And then systems like that help you get there, I love it. I will say, I think I hope people aren't taking from this that we are anti things like homebrew. In fact, I'm actually working on a homebrew setting at the moment based on our Thursday game. Still inside the same world from our Thursday game, but working on one for that, just developing it based on my little city that I'm from, my character's from. Because I think a system like Rifts really is meant for all out conflict. Like we're no pretext, no, hey, we're gonna do, you know, things a certain way. Rifts is really meant for, all right, you made something incredibly powerful and godlike. Guess what? You're gonna fight actual godlike characters. That's always been my thing. But man, I hadn't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, and now I'm not gonna lie. The Rift setting was vast. And when I say vast, it starts off with, yeah, Rifts. Guess what? You're in a cyberpunk. You're on a cyberpunk planet. However, people have been screwing with the reality. Now the multiverse is getting through. That's just what happened. Okay, that's just what's going on. So you want to play a cyberpunk game? Yeah, you totally got it and all that stuff. However, Atlantis didn't fall. It's got its own major technology. Oh, by the way, these are sentient stars that like to eat the soul of lab rats, specifically lab rats. So we have an entire sector of experimental science just to feed these stars so that it doesn't come down. And I'm going to show you guys something in case, like, in case you're wondering about this type of thing. And this system is built for just about anything you want to do, but it comes at a price. And what is that price? Well, right here, we've got the Rift's Core Book, okay, the Rift's Ultimate Edition. Now, real talk, over here on Drive-Thru RPG, we're looking at $20 for the PDF, and it is well worth it. However, all of these books are also Rift's supplements. We're just gonna keep going. Yeah. Look at all. Oh wow. Yeah.
This is what happened to me last night, looking at the supplements for Fate.
Oh, we're not done. Yeah. Yep. We're still going. We're looking at just
Yep.
on
Are
Drive-Thru.
these just addition rules?
Yep.
Like, what are these?
These are additional rules, additional settings. We're looking at, no joke, about 130 expansion books just on Drive-Thru RPG alone. Okay, just on Drive-Thru RPG.
Those
All right.
poor trees back in the day. Those poor trees back in the day.
Bro, I actually know a couple of people who have all of the Rift supplements. Okay, I know a couple of folks that have them. And we're looking at 2 or 3 shelves of books. More than Pathfinder, more than Dungeons and Dragons, because its scope is so much larger. Okay, I mean, seriously. Seriously, it gets out there. But I wanted to put this episode together to tell you guys, a lot of people, especially newer players, might want to try role-playing, but they only know it as D&D. And we say here all the time, not every role-playing game is Dungeons and Dragons, and every miniature game is not Warhammer 40K. Okay, it's called making copies and not Xeroxing. It's
Then I want to challenge you, cinematic sorcerer that you are, at the end of your show. I want you to give this audience a system you haven't played and want to.
Okay. I've already met that challenge because I mentioned it earlier.
No. And anything that we've talked about already on the show is not available to be used.
Ah. All right. So throwing down the gauntlet. Oh, you think you so bad. You think you so big with all the role-playing stuff and all that stuff. So what game haven't you played that you wanted to play? All right. I will answer that. But I wanted to put that out there, that not all RPGs are D&D. And if you're a player, especially a new player, and you're not getting something that you want out of Dungeons and Dragons, you know what? That's fair. Because the D20 system, in whatever iteration it's in, may not be advantageous to the thing that you actually want to play, or should I say, to the way that you want to play pretend with your friends. The fact that there are a lot of people out there that may want to play in certain ways gives you the idea that there are many different settings and different systems that are out there, and you actually get the chance to play these things if you open your eyes and expand your horizons to what is possible. Okay? Because I promise you, there are so many different ones. I may just find a G.I. Joe RPG. I know there's one out there. I'm pretty sure West End Games did it at the same time they did the original DC Universe games or the Star Wars games. But we'll see. So yeah, any further words here?
No.
Yeah, talk to me, guys. You are my guest host.
The only thing I got to ask is, like, how do you discover all this stuff? Because I'm not really deep into the community of D&D. I have my little group of people I play with, and I've played with Solar and Rufus a couple times, but I'm not really deep into the community, so like, what like if people are looking for like different types of genres and stuff, what would you recommend? Because I know we did a Drive Through RPG, and you showed us a couple other websites, but what would you recommend for like finding these type of materials?
Okay, I'm glad that you asked that question. Um, Actually, Gamer Nephis, I have not played Apocalypse World. However, the best way that I've done it, and keep in mind you're talking to a Generation Xer, is the way that people don't want to nowadays. And that is go outside, touch grass, get to your local gaming store, and look on the shelves. You will find stuff going, hey, I didn't know Nipsey Russell had an RPG. Like what is this freaking battle rap simulator? What is this? I what you know? Uh, and I'm dead serious. RPG.net is good. I am not a big fan of finding things in forums and on the internet because most things on the internet. That's right, Tim. Like I said, man, I'm old school. On the internet, you'll find a whole bunch of new stuff, and for every new thing that you find on the internet, you will find a minimum of 2,000 people talking about how it sucks because it's not the thing that they are already doing. So touch
Yeah.
grass and go to your friendly local gaming store. God knows they need the support. All right. But if you can't go outside because you have a disability and all that other stuff, I get it. I totally get it. So what I would say is to do a Google search for RPGs that are not Dungeons and Dragons and see what it comes up. Another place you can go is the most dangerous place on the internet if you have disposable income, which is called Kickstarter. You will find so many RPGs.
Sir, my wallet just looked at me, got up, and walked out the room.
Facts. All right. But yeah, there are loads of places. Matter of fact, places like Barnes and Nobles and Borders have always had interestingly stocked RPG sections. You know, back in our day, bookstores were where you had to go to get RPGs. And if you are, of course, a person of color, a woman, LGBTQ plus, differently abled, hit us up at backonthedeck@gmail.com because chances are we've been putting together a green book of friendly local gaming stores for most places in the United States to try and find somewhere that people can actually go into and browse. And of course, you can always look for tabletop role-playing games on the second most dangerous place on the internet, Amazon. You know,
That bitch just started my car and took off.
what your wallet is trying to get way away from you right now.
If you mention Etsy, he's gonna get a plane.
Like, hey, hang on, I think my doorbell just rang. Hold up.
He just giving you
There's boxes. Oh, what do you know?
Why did a wallet just show up at my house, bro?
Save me.
So I will say, even though Solar does not like this particular location to find things because of the opinions of some of the people involved, if you are just looking for the right starting point to then go on your own journey of finding the kind of game systems that you like, Reddit is very helpful. The tabletop community will give you recommendations for what exactly. Like they'll give you recommendations for everything. They will also tell you why they hate every system that they recommend.
I tried going to that Reddit place once, and all of a sudden, just a bunch of Hitler stuff just started popping up on my pages.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it is that way. However, if you do just want to get started with, hey, I'm looking for game systems in this kind of genre, it's not a bad place. It's not the best place, but it's not a bad place to begin the start. Just don't take their recommendations for anything more than just the names that they are. Just start there. Just, hey, now I got 10 names. I can go to my local store. Excuse me, and find out about them. I can drop by Geek and find them. There are a couple of folks that I'm really interested in what they're coming up with for their own game systems. I have not played the Candela Obscura one that the folks over at Critical Role have made for their non-combat-y games. And I've also, I'm interested in more about it after reading a little bit. And the other one, honestly, is Gabe James, who is a TikTok creator as well as a game maker. He has been making a game system that's coming out. I believe it was on Kickstarter actually, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. But sometimes you just got to find stuff in odd places. Type in tabletop RPG on TikTok, you might find some good recommendations.
Yeah.
Type it in on.
If you're watching this show, what I can say is one of the best places to find out about a lot of these games is, of course, our Discord.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was about to go, or you can go on the Discord for back in the day.
Yeah,
and you'll find a lot of great recommendations with people who will not only tell you about them, but will be realistic about what you can expect from playing in those systems. You can join the Discord for Back in the Deck Productions at the link that's going to flash onto the screen here in just a moment.
Yeah. Exactly. See, I bet you guys were thinking I was losing my chance to do that plug. Nope. It's why I'm the best comedian in the world. Go ahead.
Was trying to lead you there, and then you just hopped into it before I got to it. Say the words.
Well, go ahead. Ask me why I am one of the best comedians in the world.
So why are you one of the best comedians in the world?
Timing. See, it's definitely one of those things. You see, yeah, but seriously, I want to thank my co-hosts, my guest for showing up today. This has been the type of show that I've been trying to do since we launched this channel all these years ago. This has been an amazing time. And where can the people find you, Ganja?
Well, you guys find me over at the Chat Tech almost every day of the week now. Hell, we got a show coming up at 9 o'clock later today. But go check us out every Monday to Friday, sometimes even on Saturday, depending on how we're feeling. But we're always going to be a pre-show for the Double Toasters. Go check out Double Toasters as well. And of course, you can follow me at my Twitter at Red Ganja Guru. And that's pretty much it for me.
Awesome. Oh yeah, can you send a link, RQ? And of course, Ruthless. Yeah. Could you let the people know where to find that thing you're standing in front of?
So, as I often say, don't find me. But if you do need to find me, you can find me as The Ruthless Wonder on all social media. That's The Ruthless Wonder, not A Ruthless Wonder. And now you can find me in your Barnes & Noble. My book, The Man Called Dragon, the first of the Darkland series, just came out on August 4th and is now available at both online and some physical retailers. You can get an ebook format or in paperback. The best way to do that is to go into your Barnes & Noble and just say, hey, I want to get The Man Called Dragon from Matthew E. Williams, and they will order it to the store for you. So if you do that, send me the video. I will put it up on both my website and my social media channels. Whenever you get a book copy, take a photo. Same thing. Send me a photo of you with the book. I will put it up. I love sharing as folks have picked up their copies. So The Man Called Dragon is the first of the 4-part series, and it's a very high intensity, high paced suspense thriller. So shout out to my editor, M10, there in the chat. I know you're still here. And yeah, that's the way to find me.
Fantastic, guys. Definitely thank you for being here. This has been an awesome show. But also, since somebody just has to throw down a gauntlet, to answer your question, the game that I've always wanted to play that I've never had a chance to is called Nobilis from Noble Knight Games.
Okay.
Years and years and years ago, this game came out. Number one, it's way too expensive. The first press is $250 to buy the book.
God damn.
My goodness.
This is actually one of the RPGs that I would want a hard copy of. And I'll tell you why. The art in it is amazing. It's mostly like, it's number one, it's a coffee table book. The thing is huge. Okay. I don't even know what it's about. I didn't get much of a chance to read the book when I was working at the Game Castle all those years ago. But I'm like, this book looks amazing. Oh my God. But most of the others I've had a chance to play. We haven't even touched on Burning Wheel and Numina and stuff like that. But yeah. again, that is one of the games that I've always wanted to play and never had the chance to do it. All right, so just to answer your little question, you know,
Okay.
it's out there. All right, but yeah, yeah, the game Nobilis, it's big, it's out there, and let me see if I can find some art, some images, some.
I'm about to say, how does the art look? Because I'm sure like it's got to be amazing looking art too.
Yeah, so here we go. Like, yeah, looking at this over here. Ooh, there we are, the second edition. Just look at all of that. Again, this is from Drive-Thru RPG. You know, we have a couple here on YouTube that's like, oh my God, I mean, look at this book, it's huge. It is a big old book, but
The
some of the
thickest
art,
of boys.
huh?
Said the
goddamn
thickest of
Bible.
boys.
But yeah, and I don't even know what the game is about, but the cover is just wow. Yeah, it is really, it looks really amazing. But I've had a chance to play Numina. I've had a chance to play Burning Wheel. Again, I've played a lot of RPGs in my time. So yeah, there is that kind of thing. But if y'all got questions like that, you know, hey, what would you like to play and all that other jazz? Well, it's simple. If you got those questions, there's something that you got to do.
What do they got to do?
They got to pull up their email. All right. Open up the little thing that says to and type in backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on Twitter and Instagram. Just look for Back in the Deck. Reach out to us on TikTok @BidP. And if you're still on that wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Facebook, then join the group Deckers on the Books. Let us know what you're playing, what games you would be interested in. I know a lot of people are like, dude, how many games does he enter? Oh my God, does he do that? Yes, I'm that guy. And again, we love to have a community and all that stuff out there. Ganja and Ruthless, feel free to put links to what you how to find you guys up here in the chat. And I want to thank you guys for being here today. This has definitely made everything fun. And if you guys like what we do to a point where you get some sort of value out of it and you're looking to support us, you can do so in a couple of ways. Way number one is to like, subscribe, and share over on that YouTube place. And the other thing that you could do to really help us out is to subscribe to us over here on Twitch. Just use not your money, use Jeff Bezos's money. Because if you've got Amazon, you can get a free subscription just by doing it every month. That really helps us out. Also, I'm just putting up our donations page. Check out our Patreon. Go get yourself some merch if you want a coffee cup. All right, all that stuff is right here in the chat. Just scroll up and support all of us on those particular places. It really helps. And look for us on Spotify and on SoundCloud, or any other place that you would find your podcast. I'm pretty sure we're going to be on Apple sometime soon. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. And you know, keep us as your company at your work day. If you're like, man, I don't really want to be here and he's not going to be starting until 3 o'clock, that's okay. Listen to one of our other shows. Like if you missed the show today, well, you know what? We got others. Just head on over to Back on the Deck Productions on Spotify or on your SoundCloud or anywhere else that you find your podcast, and hang out with us as we talk about games and life and all of those other things that you can do. But with all that, if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like or play what you want to play because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, budget, neurodivergency, and I say budget because everybody who's ever been to one knows that the trailer park is always walking distance from the hood. You just look at them and tell them to take any card they're trying to pull on you and tell you can't do, and put it back in the deck. I'm Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, along with...
This is your boy.
Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder.
This is your boy, Ganja Girl.
And we will see you guys next time on the dark side of the room.